From the field to the card shop, it's Moon 3PO and BroPo breaking down baseball and the hottest sports cards. BroPo, it is a Thursday night recording. The last week that we have to deal with no baseball until October. BroPo, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, enjoying the night. Yeah, I'm just kind of I'm ready for spring training to be over. I'm ready to get this over with. Let's fast forward to next Thursday, where the games. Well, technically, if you really want to consider the Tokyo series, technically the season has started already. But um, yeah, the season officially starts next Thursday. So yeah, I'm ready to get this
Yeah,
spring
don't
training
get me
over with.
wrong. I love the games. I love the international market. I love what they do. Obviously, Tops also involve the Murakami Tops, and they have the Tokyo series cards, which those are very cool cards. I enjoy them. But yeah, that series does, or like that series and the series in the past do absolutely nothing for me. It's cool that I wake up. I usually wake up ready for work around that time. So it's cool to turn on my TV and I see international baseball being played and real meaningful games are being played. But to me, that's not opening day. Opening day is you're in the afternoon, you're off from work, maybe you're at school, maybe you're a youngin', you're leaving school. Some of my fondest days are getting checked out of school, going to Buffalo Wild Wings at 12 o'clock in the afternoon and go watching the Red Sox. Um, that's opening day for me. Opening day for me is not waking up with eye crust in my eyes and half asleep with my cat on my chest screaming that he wants to eat breakfast and got to do that. So that's not opening day for me. Opening day is a little bit different. So next Thursday, officially, opening day is here. Very, very excited. And that's what this episode is going to be all about here. Obviously, we got some card content going on right now. We got a lot of card movement as far as of auctions. We got the Paul Skenes 1/1 debut patch currently on auction right now. We're keeping tabs on it. We're obviously going to talk about that card a little bit because we really didn't talk about that when that whole drama was happening, things like that. So we'll obviously dabble into a little. Obviously, it's a little bit of spilt milk at this point of the card, but obviously we want to talk about it here. Don't want to make sure that is acknowledged and not just thrown under the rug. If you guys follow us on the socials, if you follow me at Moon3PO or you follow BroPo at Dad Who Collects, you guys would know we completed our MLB fantasy draft last night. So we'll cover that, see how we feel about our teams, get a little bit of a fun interaction on that. And then, of course, like we discussed upon it here, the MLB season is going to be in full swing officially next week. It hit me that this will technically be the first time that we're going to the pod under with the full baseball season under our belt. Last season, obviously, if you guys have been following the content, you guys would know that I started the podcast in August, had like 2 episodes under my belt by myself, including the introduction, and you came along like around September. And then obviously we did the postseason, and obviously we did the off season, and we did the wrestling stuff. We're still doing the wrestling stuff, and I'll talk about that a little bit towards the end. That'll be like my final thought. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to talk about. Very, very excited, as you can tell by the tone and the energy that we have. We're obviously very excited to dive deep into this episode and get baseball full swinging. But let's dive deep into this Paul Skenes. Actually, I'm looking at it. Is it going to end finally? It's that. Oh no, it just restarted. I was like, that's a.
Dude, I think that that clock is never ending. I wish they should do eBay auctions like this. Like, god damn, you know how many eBay auctions I've lost at the last
That's
minute?
the
Like,
furthest I
come
saw it
on.
tinkered down to. I was like, is it going to end already? But yeah, obviously,
I saw it like at 40
I
seconds
saw it
earlier,
right
but I
now.
don't
It
know where
hit
it's at right
7
now.
seconds. So I was like, and it was in red. So I was like, oh my god, is it gonna like? Are we gonna get a live reaction to this
Oh,
card? I don't know when this is gonna end. Because if I'm understanding it correctly, Fanatics Collect, they have all cards listed on that auction. So if like another person bids on another card, it extends the bidding for all the cards. If I'm understanding that correctly, so that's why this card just keeps going down and up, down and up, down and up as far as of time frame. But right now, the Paul Skenes debut 1/1 at a PSA 10, a 10/10, card Gemmin 10, auto 10, which I mean, the auto kind of hits that little debut patch there. I don't know if we'll call it auto 10, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. This card right now is we're sitting right
conspiracy
now
theory.
at 925,000. That is the current bid. And then with buyer's premium, we're sitting at $1.1 million. And Topps just put out this tweet right now. I was looking for the data and they did my job for me. So thank you. Shout out to Tops, whoever runs the socials. So yeah, it's at 1.1 million. This already puts it at the sixth highest and sixth most expensive card sales amongst MLB players, with the cards still live at auction. So there's a chance that it can top some of these cards here. So coming in at number 5 is Joel Doyle. That was 1.32 million. Mike Trout, 3.84 million. Babe Ruth sitting at 7.2. Honix Wagner, the T206 at 7.25. And then the 52 Mantle at $12.6 million. Now, before we get into the actual price of the card and what we think about this in general, let's take a step back. Let's go a couple of months back and let's talk about the lore of this card. So we didn't hear for months about this card. Obviously, it was still out there. Hobby jumbos, mega boxes were still being sold out. Still are expensive right now. I think our local hobby store packs were being
Packs
ripped
were
to
being
lore.
ripped.
I was ripping open megas left and right, thinking I had a chance at a debut patch, but I knew sure as hell with my luck that was not going to happen. Hobby boxes were high. They're still high right now. I think I saw one of our local hobby stores still selling jumbos and hobbies for like over $500. It's kind of crazy to me. But yeah, it still is ridiculous right now when it comes to prices on that. And Breaker,
who's left debut patch wise? Is there like I have is Jackson Merrill
I
still out there?
think he's been pulled. I mean, I can try to do there's a guy on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days. He made an Excel tracker. It's not in this link. I thought, oh, there it is. Is that it? Okay, let me do a quick glance of this this Excel sheet here. No, thanks. So Austin Martin has not been pulled. If you're a fan of Alex Spias, he has not been pulled. Let's see. I'm trying to find some big names here. That's been pulled. Rafaela hasn't been pulled.
Like I know, like
surprise.
was
I thought Rafaela was
Yamamoto?
pulled. I thought he was pulled, but he is not pulled.
Ooh.
Kate Smith from the
Interesting.
Guardians has not been pulled. Evan Carter has not been pulled. So I guess that explains why. Evan Carter
Evan
has not
Carter
been
was one of the
pulled.
ones. Okay, yeah. Okay. I remember there being like a bigger name from that rookie class that hadn't been pulled. I don't know why I thought it was like
Jordan
Jackson Merrill,
Beck.
but okay, yeah, Evan Carter makes it. Was Wyatt Langford? He's
Let
been
me see
pulled, right?
here. Wyatt Langford. No, Jackson Merrill has not been pulled. According to I'm going up the Excel tracker. So Jackson Merrill has not been pulled. So maybe
Okay.
that does. I take back
Yeah.
my words. That
Yeah.
does explain why the prices are. Yeah,
So there
there
are
are
still
still
some.
some big names out there. Justin Sladen from our Sox is still out there too. Who is this? So yeah, overall, you kind of get the idea. There are still some big names out there right now that have yet to be pulled. So that explains the pricing um, of the card, or not the card, but of the prices and boxes in general right now. So I mean, if you're ripping open Chrome, there's still that opportunity. Highly recommend you guys go check out that account there. The account is TP35 cards, and he has it linked in his bio. It's a pin tweet. I'm sorry, is if you want to go check out that Excel sheet. But yeah, packs are being ripped, boxes are being ripped, still no debut patch, and then we finally get the post from Topps that a kid, I believe he was like 11, 12 years old, around that time frame, 10 to 12, I'm not too sure of the age, but a kid had requested a box for Christmas. His parents got him a box for Christmas, and he was writing in his journal that he wanted a box and he wanted to pull the debut patch. And like good old miracles work, Santa brought him that good old little box, and the kid ended up pulling the debut patch. No pictures or no photos have been taken of the kid and or the parents, which we'll talk about that too, because I know some people are kind of mad about that. But I was like, it is a little bit sus, but the way I think about it now is like, it's still the way I think about it now. I'm like, okay, like maybe it does make sense why they haven't been doxxed, and I think it's for good reason. So a kid pulls it. There's no rumors of what they're going to do with it. Obviously, they had all the offers. Ken Colden was going after it. The Pittsburgh Pirates offered him season tickets. You could have gone sit up with Livy Dune in a suite, meet and greet with Paul Skenes, do all that jazz. Go to spring training, get I think it was 20 seasons, 20 years of season tickets, if I'm not mistaken. 30, something like that.
30?
Yeah, it wasn't a
30
lifetime.
years?
It was a couple,
Right.
obviously a couple of decades there. But then the card goes to Fanatics Collect. It stays within Fanatics. which we'll obviously I'll ask your opinion here in a little bit. Kind of want to do the lore first. It goes to Fanatics Collect, does not leave anywhere. There's no negotiations of so whatsoever from that card. Ken Golden has even confirmed himself that he attempted to reach out or attempted to get information, but nothing was found, and they weren't able to reach out to the person or the kid who pulled the card. I'm sure their parents. I'm pretty sure the kid's not negotiating this deal. And then it gets the 10-10. So, yeah, obviously there's been a lot of suspicions with the card as far as of the grade of the card, the auto of the card. Is it a perfect 10? Was it a 10? We'll never know how that card looked. And then now, obviously, there's been the debate or the tinfoil hat, we should say, as far as of the suspicions of that this card is staying with Fanatics. It never left. It never was negotiated. And obviously, things like that. So I'll open up the floor to you, BroPo, with that lore of this card. What do you think about it? What do you think about the conspiracies that we heard with this card? You know, Fanatics keeping it under wraps, Fanatics keeping it within their auction house, the kids, the parents not being doxxed, things like that. What is your overall take of the history, not including the pricing or anything like that, just the overall history of the card?
Yeah, I do think some of the timing and the conspiracy theories are. I mean, they're valid. You can make a valid point. The only one I'm like okay with is obviously like the picture of the kid and the picture of the family. Like if I had been the one to pull that, like I wouldn't want my son or daughter like plastered all over the internet or my family plastered all over the internet. Um, like just so that I can, because you don't want people bugging you. Like if you know somebody knows who you are, or stuff like that. Like that one I was okay with. Where the story starts to get a little weird is like first you get the story, like it comes out that it's been pulled. We're like, all right, cool. And then it feels like overnight, like the card's already been graded. PSA already gave it the 10-10. It's like, whoa, it was like, wasn't it just pulled? Like, and I guess I don't know where that gap between that story is. Like when they put the story out, did it get pulled like 2-3 weeks ago, and then it just got graded, and that's why we know it got pulled. Um, so that's kind of where like the some of the blurriness starts. Um, and then I don't know if I'm not mistaken. I think this one was a redemption, right? So obviously, Tops knew or Fanatics knew when it was going to get pulled because obviously you're putting in all your information for the redemption. So I mean, obviously, Fanatics is obviously getting your contact information. So of course they're going to be one of the first ones to contact you. So and I know I did see that video of Ken Golden that he posted it on Twitter where he pretty much said that like he didn't have a problem like with the family going with Fanatics like to sell the card through their auction house. His problem was that he didn't even have the opportunity to meet with the family and give him his side. Like, hey, maybe Golden might be the better way to auction off this card. Like it just went straight from the kid, PSA, Fanatics. Like it just all stayed in house. So that is kind of um sus. I think it is. But I don't know. It's the weird story is it's so weird that it just we got the story that the card's been pulled and then they're like, oh, it's 11-year-old, and then for some reason like they I don't know why they released like his fucking diary like leave the kid alone, like what, like why are you just gonna plaster his diary all over the internet saying how he wants to pull the card? Like I was like, all right, who wrote this? Did y'all like it's just so weird. And then like next thing you know, like the card's been graded 10-10, and it's like, all right, like how much money did Fanatics give to PSA to give them that 10-10 DNA authentication, all that other bullcrap that they do over there? Because I've seen some other ones that have been graded. I think like if I'm not mistaken, I think it might be Cheerios.
Mm-hmm.
They gave it a 9, if I'm not mistaken. Holidays is not even graded. That one's going for raw right now as we speak in the auction. But yeah, so I mean, I'm pretty sure there was extra pressure on PSA to just give it the 10-10 just to add that extra value from it. But yeah, there's definitely like valid conspiracy stories within this whole drama of the card.
Yeah, I know some people were upset about the whole doxing of the kid and the parents, but yeah, I agree 100%. Like if I pulled that card, or like if I had kids or something like that, like I would not want anybody to know that I had that card. Obviously, there's obviously Intel who knows, Fanatics knows, and whoever's working and whoever's working their due diligence, what that card knows, who pulled it. But like the outside world itself, I would not want to know I wouldn't want anybody else to know that I pulled this card, just for like the overall safety for myself, my family. Obviously, if people know you have a high price dollar of that card, what's to say what was to happen to that. I know some people were upset about that, which I thought was like kind of crazy. I was like, I don't think that's not a reason to be upset. Yeah, I was like, that's a little bit weird to
That's a
be
little
upset
weird.
about. I think if there's things to be upset
Yeah.
about, or to be have your high tails on, your suspicions about, it's like, yeah, like you just mentioned there, the not the timeline of it is doesn't really add up. Um, I'm not too sure if they did like a drop off a PSA. I'm pretty sure as hell you're not sending that card in the mail. Um, so I don't know what that looked like.
Yeah.
And it's, again, the whole Fanatics collecting. Obviously, the Fanatics auction is fairly new as well, so it's not something that's been established for years, or it's been around for years, like Ken Golden and Golden Auctions. And obviously, Ken Golden is one of the top tier auction houses these days. Has his own show on Netflix and shows what he can do with collectibles and sports cards. So the fact that he didn't even get like a conversation with the parents and or the kid, it's a little bit crazy. But obviously, this card being over $1 million right now, I don't think the kid and the parents are losing sleep over that. But just to put into context, I look at this Pirates offer now, man. This is just peanuts what they offered. 2 Pirates season tickets behind home plate for the next 30 years. Meet and greet with Paul Skenes. 2 Paul Skenes signed jerseys. Pirates game with Livy Dune Inner Suite, and much more. That's peanuts, man. That's cotton candy and a hot dog, essentially. Because Jesus, man, that is so. And then so, and then the Pittsburgh Pirates put out the tweet. Well, we're bummed.
Man, whoever yeah, dude, whoever wins this damn card in this auction, they better hope that Paul Skenes is like the greatest fucking pitcher of the world and becomes like the all-time leader in strikeouts,
That was
wins,
going to
and
be
all
my
the crap.
question.
Because like, like as we all know, like pitchers, like for some reason, don't hold well in the market. Like it's they just don't. Like it's like one of those things where once they're at a high, like you gotta pick and choose like when you want to sell it, because there might be a time where they just go like, I mean, he could have a bad season for all we know, like a bad sophomore season, and like you just poured in all this money. I think like a good. I mean, I'm like Matt Harvey. Remember when Matt
Dark
Harvey
Knight.
came onto the scene? Remember how dominant he was and how crazy he was, and yeah, remember her. And then all of a sudden, like it just went away overnight, and like
Yeah,
so
I always
yeah, you better hope this guy. Do I think he has potential? Yeah, I do. I do like Paul Skenes. I'm a big Paul Skenes fan. I do like him a lot. If you go back and listen to the interview we did with Renato, I told him like I think he's changing the game with the way some teams look at college pitchers, where they're just MLB ready. It's just the way it is, and so I think he was leading the pack, and so um, I'm not wishing any ill will on Paul Skenes. I have Paul Skenes cards, so I do like them. I collect them here on the side. Not that much. Obviously, I don't have a $925,000 card, but yeah, it's just the market's just not kind to pitchers.
Yeah, and that was gonna
So
be my thing, because obviously
I don't know.
I listed off Hall of Famers on that Tops tweet, and potential Hall of Famer with Mike Trout. But like, it's just so crazy to see what this card is doing right now and continue is going to do. Like, is this a person, he or she, or I know the people that bought the show, not bought, but bid on the Otani ball, like that was like an investment group, or like a I think a group like out of the country. I think it was, I don't know if it was in Dubai or in Japan. I know there was like a private investment group. Like, is it a group? Is it a person, a personnel? Like, who exactly is it? But like, are they seeing this as an investment? Are they seeing this as like as a collection? Like, or like it's like, I know I was seeing some other interviews and things like that. Like, people are seeing this and treating this as like an investment. Like, over time, like, yeah,
That's hard to do. I'd like to see this as an investment. Like, how much more higher do you think this is gonna go? Like, I think this is probably like you're setting the market. If anything, if he doesn't go on to like I said, become like okay, off the top of your head, like what top? What does you think he have to be like a top 10 pitcher of all time, top 15, top 20? Like, where do you think he would have to be like to, if not like raise the bar higher to sell this card for more than $1 million? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you think he'd have to be like top 5 all time? Like I don't like it. This is more like a collection piece to me, if
yeah.
you
And then
ask me.
like, and then that I'm guilty of it because like like obviously like I if you guys have followed my content, you guys have been like following like I've pulled some like I don't want to say crazy Paul Skenes stuff, but like I've had the opportunity to buy some low end like Paul Skenes cards before they were expensive, and then like grade them and sell them. And the thought I always have in my head when I sold, like obviously if you guys again follow the socials, I pulled the I think it was 50. I don't know. It was out of 50, I think, or out of 75. Well, it was one of those. Um, Green Wave Refractor Paul Skenes card, the true rookie card, graded with SGC, got a 9.5, and then I sold it for $235 or like 250, something like that. But the question I always ask myself is like, how much higher can his market really go? Like, what else can he do that can increase the market? Like, yes, last year was his rookie season. Yes, he won Rookie of the Year. Yes, he was a finalist for like Cy Young. But like, track records show like winning Cy Youngs like doesn't even winning MVP too. Like, it doesn't increase your market that much. Like, it really doesn't. Um, so like, what really?
I think if anything, like maybe like a good comparison is you maybe go
Yeah,
look at like Clayton Kershaw's market. Like he'd have to go down maybe like that road where he won MVP, Cy Young the same year, dominant, throwing 200 Ks for like every other season. So it's like, and obviously now he's getting to like the tail end of his career. But I think that's kind of like where would you
I was
put
gonna say that
Kershaw
the
like all
comps to
time
him
pitcher
are
wise?
Kershaw and
Like
Verlander.
you know,
I think they're like the top two, and even Verlander kind of had a lower. Right now,
yeah,
obviously, his back end career,
yeah.
minus from like the couple of years with the Stros, have been a little bit injury riddled, and it's kind of not been like dominant that he was. But yeah, like Kershaw and Verlander are like the tier of what a modern pitcher is like now, or like compare at least comparable. Obviously, there's late greats like Sandy Koufax, guys like that. But like if you're gonna compare him to a modern pitcher, your guys are going to are Kershaw and Verlander. Uh, so it's just a case of like what. So I always again I always ask myself, what more can he possibly do to increase it? Like, is it winning a Cy Young? Is it winning MVPs? Like, is that's the thing that goes into my head. And then another thing too that I like to think about now is that we have the MLB Golden logo, man, which is where like the MVPs and Cy Youngs like they're gonna get cards. Those are one of one
Mm,
cards. Like, is that card more valuable than a debut patch? So like
those are one of wins. Yeah.
that's where like my brain goes to is like if this card exceeds in like that whatever a top if it ends up being a top 5 top 4 card, um like what more can you potentially do with it? And I think that's like the question I like to ask myself, and I think that's going to be the more um interesting thing about this card. If it exceeds that, I don't think it's going to hit per like what was the list again? So let's go back to the list. Let's see here. Let me go back really quick.
Probably no, it's probably him bidding
It's
on
probably
it.
freaking what's that dude's name? Jeff Wilson. The dude always talks about cards as investments. So like Joel Doyle's 1.32 million. So like I wouldn't be surprised if he passes Joel Doyle. Mike Trout's 3.84. Some guy, but who the heck is Joe Doyle?
Yeah, I don't see it on passing Trout.
I don't even know
Valid question.
who Joe Doyle is.
Let's find out who. Let's see.
But yeah, overall in the end, I just personally do not see um where this card goes or what the future of this card looks like. Again, and if you guys are listening to this and are thinking of cards as investments, please, you can treat them as assets. You can, but please do your own research. This is not financial advice. Please be careful what you're doing with your money. A card could be worth this amount at one point and can easily drop down, which is why sports cards in general as investments. Yes, you guys know me. I buy cards on the side. We both now at this point buy cards on the sites and flip them and fund other purchases or fund side hustles, whatever the case may be. But like if we're looking at it as an investment, you treat it as a stock, a crypto, whatever you're doing. Um, please just be careful with that because obviously it can go south really, really quickly. Uh, but what do we got on Joel Doyle?
I think we got some info right here on. I think we see here. His name is Slow Joe Doyle. Born September 15th, 1881, in Clay Center, Kansas. God, I hope this is him. But he has a career WAR of 4.9. Yes, 4.9. With a career of 22 wins and 21 losses, with an ERA of 2.85. He threw 436 innings and 209 strikeouts. So not a good K to 9 ratio, if you ask me. Um, let's see here. Um, yeah, he is part of that T206 baseball card
Oh,
set.
that's
So I don't know if
probably
that
it
has
then.
anything to do with it. Probably. So it's yeah. So it says Doyle was one of the 392 baseball players featured on a cigarette card issued by the American Tobacco Company. 60 years after the card was first issued, baseball card collector Larry, can't pronounce his last name, noticed that there were two different versions of the Doyle
That's
card.
probably it.
Oh, so it's an error card, I think. One mistakenly stating that he played for NYNATL, and a second that simply said NY. Presumably, the printer mixed up Joe with Larry Doyle, who played for the New York Giants in the NL. Upon realizing the error, the printing merely removed the National League from the caption and printed the correct version of the card. While the correct version of the card is fairly common, there are believed to be only 8 authentic error cards in
That makes
existence.
sense.
So it's an error card. I was like, how is this guy with the 4 war
I know
awards
you're reading me off those
1.3
numbers. I'm
mil?
like,
Like, come on.
is this the right guy?
All right. That's what I was like, dude. I need to make sure this is the right fucking. Just acting like a
That's
damn
the true
Joe
Joe
Schmo
Schmo right there.
here.
That's the definition of the debut of Joe Schmo right there. But
You know, I think we're gonna have to update this joke. He's whenever I mention like a fucking slap dig, I'm no longer gonna call him Joe Schmo. I'm like, dude, you're gonna go and you're gonna pull a jam, slow Joe Doyle.
oh man, the new Joe
I think that might
Doyle,
have to be
Joe
the new
Doyle,
joke.
slow Joe Doyle. There you go.
uh,
But
slow Joe Doyle.
yeah. Once I'm obviously it's gonna end tonight. Obviously keep an eye on the socials. I'll probably do like a little TikTok or something. As far as what the card goes right now, and just for those who are also interested in the Jackson Holiday right now, the Jackson Holiday is sitting at a current bid of 165,000, with a buyer's premium of 198,000. So curious to see where that goes. It looks like that hasn't really been moving. Obviously Jackson Holiday, I think still has a lot of upside, and arguably still one of the top young, exciting players in baseball right now. So wouldn't be surprised if that makes a little bit of a late push, maybe pushing 300, maybe half a grand, just because it is Jackson Holiday. But yeah, be curious to see where that one does end up. I think those were the only debut patches listed on here. As far as that premium auction, there were some other cool cards on there. We have a 52 Mantle SGC 2.5. There's like a collection of some of those cards in there from that set. There are some Shohei Ohtani cards on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's like
there
a
is a
whole
whole
set on
set.
here.
There's like if you're into Michael Jordan, there's the 86 Fleer at a PSA 10. There's like a Derek Jeter card.
Yeah, there's that Wemby
Yeah.
logo man too. It's a 101. That's at
And then there's
400,000. So
the
almost
Bowman
half a
Chrome
mil.
Red Juan Soto. That's at a PSA 9 Auto 10. That's on sitting at 170,000. Man, he looks young there. That's great.
Yeah, they got a 1914 Cracker Jack Joe Jackson.
Hell yeah.
PSA 1.5.
How much is that card? What is that? What's the bid on that?
It's at
Man, I like
125,000
the
right
little
now.
Cracker Jack. But yeah,
That's a
Paul Skenes again. That card is gonna go for. Time will tell what that card does. Will this be the smartest buy? Will it be the biggest downfall of a card? Obviously, this will be for stories to tell and for content to keep going on. So obviously, keep an eye out there for the socials and keep an eye on Topps website if you guys end up wanting to see what the official price is. Because again, at the time of recording, still is going on that bidding. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes on for the next couple of hours or so, just because again there's some other premium cards on there. But speaking of young stars like Paul Skenes and Jackson Holiday, we had an exciting draft. Do you have one of those players on your team there? I don't want to spoil your draft, but let's go over the MLB draft because we did it last night, like at 9:00 Central Standard Time. Went really quickly. I was telling my wife, I was telling Mrs. like, hey, this might go on for like an hour and a half, potentially. This draft was done less than an hour. It was done like in 15 minutes. I was like, man, what the hell? I sometimes like the excitement of a draft, just sitting there looking at my iPad, looking at my notes that I spent like weeks and months on. Usually I start my stuff in March and just keep tabs of spring training as far as like injuries, who's hot, who's not. But yeah, we had our draft. We texted each other right after saying that we feel good about our teams right away. Um, I think I don't know if this is accurate, but the AI has me at the highest percentage to make the playoffs. Don't know if that's accurate or not. It has me at 42%. I I just want to put that out there. I'm at 42%.
Where do you see that at? That's what I was trying to find yesterday,
It showed
and
me on
I couldn't find it.
the desktop, but if you go to oh yeah, no, if
Okay,
you
I'm
go
on the
to
iPad. That's
standings
why.
and you kind of just like move, if you go like move your cursor, like you move your finger.
League standings. Oh yeah.
So they
Okay.
dropped me down a percent.
Wait,
I was at 40.
mine's like stuck. Is it you?
Yeah, playoff
You
percentage. Yeah.
you're talking about the playoff percentage?
So yesterday I
Oh,
was at
okay.
42%.
Yeah.
I was at 42%.
Where you at? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they had me at
Yeah, I'm at
41%.
39.
Not to toot my own horn.
Which which this playoff standing is a little bit different than what we usually, because usually they have us broken up like by leagues. There's like 5 in one division, 5 in another division.
Yeah.
This one's just like all of us in one, so this one's kind of interesting. So I'm assuming they're probably going to take like the top four. Um, is what I'm thinking. That's probably how it works. So just for context, we are on ESPN Fantasy, so people don't know what the heck we're talking about. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, it says projected winners bracket. It has 4 teams on there, so
Yeah.
they are taking the top 4 teams. But yeah, yeah, I had a pretty good. I felt pretty good about it. I drafted, just for context, I drafted third. And then you incidentally drafted right after me with the fourth pick. So the past couple of years, I think when we do these drafts, I usually get bit in the ass because I tend to forget about like starting pitchers and pitching. So, um, yeah, I try to change that this year. So like just for context, my first pick, obviously, I went with Bobby Witt Jr. So my top 3 picks in order, it was Bobby Witt, and then I picked Fernando Tatis Jr. And then with my top third pick was Garrett Crochet. So I mean, 2 studs, 2 young studs, and another young stud ace. I like it.
So yeah, let me kind of scroll down on my team. So these are so yeah, we usually, my routine with these types of drafts is I always like to go, depending on where I'm located in the draft. I think last year, I don't remember where I was at last year. Um, but my rule of thumb is to always get 2 hitters, and then I go to my pitcher. At least get like at least an established ace, or at least an established pitcher. So my first 3 picks, I did have the 4th round pick, as just mentioned. My first pick, I went with Jose Ramirez from the Cleveland Guardians. I think this is like the first time ever that I've ever drafted Jose Ramirez. Usually I always end up like with somebody else, but I don't think I've ever drafted Jose Ramirez.
It was funny too, because I think probably if I had not taken Bobby Witt, you probably would have taken him, and because I was going back and forth between Bobby Witt and
Yeah,
Jose Ramirez.
I went in Bobby. I
So you
originally
probably
wanted
would
Bobby
have.
Witt.
Yeah.
But no complaints on my end. Jose Ramirez is easily a 30-40, maybe a 40-40 guy this year. Second pick, he is currently hurt right now, but I'm not worried because I think he is going to. Oh, Jesus, never mind. All right, so, I think he is going to be healthy, but as I read this, I changed my mind. It is not going to happen. My second pick, I went with Gunnar Henderson, but according to this, Orioles manager Brandon Heights said Thursday that Henderson intercostal, I don't even know what the hell that means, is running out of time to be ready for opening day. So that does not make me feel good. But it says here, it truly seems like a coin flip at this point to whether Henderson avoids the injured list or not. So it looks like he may not be ready for opening day, but it looks like he may just skip out on that injured list. Hopefully he does, so I don't have to put him on the injured list to start off my year. And then I went with starter Cole Reagans from the Kansas City Royals. So we kind of were similar. We kept it there with the lefties and with the speedy bats there, the speedy power bat combo. Do you want to read off our teams, or you want to go back and forth as far as the picks? How's the way we should approach this?
I mean, we can kind of just go based off our team, because I think some of these towards like the middle rounds, like I saw some automation, so some of them are kind of funky. But like I'm looking at the draft recap right now. You know, it was interesting because I was looking at it because one of the players I wanted to draft was was Julio Rodriguez. And if I'm not
That dude
mistaken,
fucked
he
me
got
over last year.
drafted. I want to say, where is he at? Well, maybe. Actually, I think you had this guy last year too. I was okay. So he went in the 6th round. He was the 60th pick. Wasn't picked by me or you. But it was kind of interesting to see how low he was and then how high Corbin Carroll was. Like he was drafted. I was looking at it right now. Like he was drafted in the 2nd round with the 13th pick. But like those were two guys that kind of struggled. I know Corbin Carroll picked it up like in the second half last year. And I know he's having a good spring, but it's kind of weird how like like they're both like
Yeah,
they both kind of struggled that weird way. But like Julio's more far down than and Corbin Carroll's still high above. Like it's kind of crazy. But yeah, we can just compare by our teams, and I guess we can go by like let me see. Let me go with my team here. So we went to the top 3. In the 4th round, I went with Jackson Merrill. With my 38th pick, the 43 pick in the 5th round. I guess
I
we
would
can
do
go by
threes. Yeah,
threes if you want. Went Corey Seager, and then in the 6th round, I went with my closer. Picked up another pitcher with Mason
yeah,
Miller.
that was another guy. I know. Yeah,
So I like the Jackson Merrill. I know I was watching some like fantasy videos and some guys were like, oh, like I don't want to draft Jackson Merrill because of the whole like sophomore stomp and blah blah blah. I'm like, shut up, just be quiet. Like he was. Some people say he should have won Rookie of the Year, so be quiet. Um, Corey Seager, hopefully if he stays healthy, I think he can put up some solid numbers. He's looking at 25 homers. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Same thing for Mason Miller. The only thing that scares me about
Marley
Mason Miller is they're going
Ballpark.
to be pitching
Yeah,
in a fucking minor league stadium, so I don't know how that's going to work. So that's the only thing that kind of worries me about him. But other than that,
yeah, the minor league
I feel pretty good
ballpark
about it.
and the fact that he's on the A's. I think the A's can be sneaky good. Um, but yeah, it's
Which I can kind of well, I guess we'll get into it later. But that also explains some of my
yeah,
later
they can
picks
be. I think
in
they're
the
like a
draft.
sneaky team. I think people are kind of like I don't want to say they're getting talked about, but they're not like oh like heavy favorites. But yeah, I think they could be Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler. Obviously, they made some upgrades to the rotation there. So yeah, I think they could be a little bit sneaky there. Um, but continuing on with my next pick, I kept it with the Jacksons. I went with my guy Jackson Churro. If you guys know, I am a big Jackson Churro guy. Uh, I raved about him last year, raved about his card market as well. Even when he was still struggling, I believed in the bat and believed in the player. And obviously, he showed there in the second half again that he can be a high caliber player. And even showed in the postseason as well that this dude is legit. So I went with Jackson Churro, my 37th pick, 4th round pick. I then went with another starter. I went with my 44th pick, 5th round pick, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, which awkwardly enough, when I was drafting him, it turns out my wife has like a crush on this dude, him and Roki Sasaki, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Who is it? Hold on. Who is it? I, she said not Roki.
It's,
Not
I'm gonna take
Roki,
a
but
guess on
it's
Roki.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto. She has a
Oh,
crush on
there I got
Yoshinobu
it wrong.
Yamamoto. I'm like, where the fuck did this come from? So yeah, Yoshinobu Yamamoto. She's on all over daughter TikTok. Her, him, Banda, Kike, like shaking ass on TikTok. That's all I see now on my damn timeline. And of course, Mookie Betts,
And then it doesn't help that Mookie's over there too
Mookie,
now. Oh well,
Banda,
Mookie, yeah.
Yamamoto. Otani's not a bad looking guy either. So yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, it turns out there's a man crush on Yamamoto. So drafted one of my wife's man crush there on Yamamoto. And then keeping it on with the young outfielders here, you can see a trend because last year, young, exciting players and prospects carried me to my draft. Like for context, I finished second in my draft. I lost in the second. I lost in the championship round. I lost to the dude who was the first, but that dude was a fucking monster. That dude killed me in the regular season and killed me in the playoff. No, he didn't kill
Yeah.
me in the playoff. We were close, and then yeah, he just fucking killed me in the end.
I think I had a shot. I did. I missed the playoff. I think I was like the second team out, but or out like from making it. So there was, I came in 4th in my place, but I know that guy you're talking about because I was like, there was still a chance that I could have made it, but like for some reason, like I ended up playing him twice towards the end. I'm like, what the fuck? So I
Yeah,
got
that
like
dude.
smacked on both
Yeah, the
those
dude
times and
shellacked me in the
ended
regular
all
season.
hopes.
I put up a good fight in the championship, but then um, Yeah, I ended up losing in the championship, so I ended up getting the second place trophy. But if you're not first, you're last. But carrying on with that thought, then went with Wyatt Langford. So that was my 57th pick, 6th round. Again, Wyatt Langford put on a pretty strong showing towards the second half of the year. I think September he was where he put up some insane numbers. Can easily be like the comps are to like Mike Trout, things like that. He did miss kind of worried me a little bit. He did miss a little bit of time in spring training with an oblique injury, but he has been playing. He's 7 for 12 with a home run and 4 RBIs during that stretch. So since he's came back, so I'm not worried at all about Wyatt Langford. So yeah, that was my next pick. So I went with 2 outfielders and then went with my second ace there in Yamamoto.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I think you had. I was actually gonna take Churrill, but you had taken him before me, so obviously I went with the other Jackson Murrow. So, but here in this part, so we're gonna go over. Let's go over the next 4. So it's the next. We're going round 7, 8, 9, and 10. This is where I started kind of to panic because I was starting to get a little sweaty as my little clicker started going. Doot, 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 doot. My people were getting taken. The clock was slowly ticking, so I ended up taking Pete Alonso at the 63rd pick, the 7th round. And then I followed up with 2 pitchers in the 8th and 9th round. I went Freddie Peralta and then went Zach Gallen. And then in the 10th round, I went with hopefully my little sleeper pick with the 98th pick. I went Junior Caminero. So I'm hoping Caminero can put up. I was watching like a bunch of like fantasy analysts and baseball people. People are saying that he could probably be like a potential 100 RBI guy. So to get him that late was pretty cool. Freddie and Zach Gallen, those are just 2 like middle of the guy rotations who put up like 3. They're like around that 3 ERA kind of guys. So hopefully they stay healthy. I think actually it's funny enough. I had both of these guys on my fantasy team last year. Yeah, and I drafted Zach. I think last time Zach Allen was like my top pitcher pick last year. So I play. Obviously, I have him here, but I'm picking him later in the game. So I feel pretty good about that. Same thing for Freddie Peralta, which I think probably both those guys might start for their respective
Allen just got the nod for
opening. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, right? Okay. All right, cool. And then Pete Alonso, that one was my panic pick because he scares me average wise, but obviously he puts up big home run numbers and RBIs, but the average scares me. But hopefully that outweighs that a little bit.
Yeah, this round here is where, or the next 4 picks is where I started getting dicey. The clinker started going off, and then I remember my wife was like, "What's that noise?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a timer telling me to hurry up and fucking pick." So with my 64. Oh, she asked me, "What the hell was that?" Like, that's the timer telling me to fucking pick. So my 64th pick, 7th round pick, is a guy that I actually had last year as well. Bryce Miller. Absolutely love Bryce Miller. That whole Mariners rotation carried me last year because I had Bryce Miller, George Kirby last year.
That's why I panicked. That's why I panicked because the ESPN alarm went off and then like it went. I was like, "What the hell?" So the guy was
I love Bryce Miller.
Miller
I would have gone George Kirby, but obviously George Kirby is hurt. I had George Kirby last year. Though that was my 1-2 punch in my rotation. And then I added Paul Skenes like late in the year, or not late in the year. I actually added him early because I heard some rumblings on another podcast that he was going to get the call up. So I was like, let me add him until I was sitting on my bench, which spoiler alert, I am potentially doing again with one of my later picks. But yeah, again, 64th, 7th round pick, Bryce Miller. I then realized that I needed a closer, so I panicked. And then I went with my 77th pick, 8th round, with Robert Suarez from the San Diego Padres. This is where I don't know. I believe in the player. Don't get me wrong. I believe in the player, but I don't know if I drafted him too early. I then went with 84th pick, 9th round, Tristan Casas from our Boston Red Sox. Obviously, he dealt with some injuries last year, but I've been consuming. Obviously, we're Red Sox fans, and obviously as much Red Sox content that we consume. I legit think if he is healthy, the way he's been peppering the Green Monster at JetBlue and the way he's been performing, like this dude can easily be a 40 home run, 100 RBI guy. And especially with the lineup that they have right now, of the guys that can get on base that are going to be ahead of him, he can be an easily 40, 100 guy. So went with Tristan Casas as my 84th pick, 9th round. And then this one here, again, maybe got ahead of myself here, but I really wanted a catcher because a catcher, if you draft him late, you can really end up with a Joel Doyle at this case here. So I went with Wilson Contreras. at my 97th 10th round pick. So yeah, 2 pitchers, 2 hitters. I felt pretty good about that. And then after that is where it starts getting a little bit dicey. But yeah, overall, again, the Cassis one kind of worries me a little bit. I don't know if I drafted him too early, but I was a little bit worried that because he was high on my queue. So I was like, I don't know if I drafted him too early, but I think overall that's a good pick for me. But easily a 40 home.
So who was your 10th round? Who
10th
was
round pick
your
was
10th
Wilson
round pick?
Contreras from the
Again?
St. Louis Cardinals. That was my catcher. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay, cool. Uh, no, I think you kind of hit the Tristan Casas. So
Yeah,
you got
He's
him
my
in the
ninth
ninth
round
round, right?
pick. Or yeah, 9th round, 84th overall pick.
Yeah, I think that's
Because
that
I
seems
think
about right
ESPN had him like
for that kind of
160. I think they
player
had him like
slash potential.
160. So but I was like, man,
Okay. It's probably because of all like the I think
yeah.
there's probably because a lot of
I was
questions.
like, I need a
maybe,
first
but
baseman, and then like looking at my lineup, like I was really missing
yeah.
like a true power bat minus from Jose Ramirez that can easily put up like for sure like 30, 40. So I was like, yeah, let me get Casas in there. So yeah, that was my next 4 there.
Nice. Next 4 rounds, we got the 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th round, and then we'll round it out. After that, we'll discuss the final 5, and then that's our draft recap. So 11th round with the 103 pick, rounded out my outfield with Brian Reynolds from the Pittsburgh Pirates. 12th round, realized I needed another closer, and the closer list was starting to get a little thinned out at this point, so I went with Jeff Hoffman for the Toronto Blue Jays. The next 2 picks, which was the 13th to 14th, which is the 123rd and the 138th pick, respectively. These 2 positions I kind of neglected a little bit because I don't know. There's kind of like wasn't a lot of names that popped out in these positions, which is second base and catcher because a lot of the other names have been picked. So the second base, I went with Jonathan India, the Kansas City Royals, which I really like. I know if you go back and listen to one of our postseason pods when he got traded from the Reds to Kansas City, we talked about like who won that deal, and we were kind of both like it was a win-win for both sides. So I really do like that.
Yeah,
I really
if
do
he can
like
stay
him
healthy,
as a
if he can
player.
stay
I
healthy,
know even
and
there
like
was
a change of
rumblings that
scenery, I
the
know he
Sox.
kind of struggled, and I think probably like the
Yeah,
trade rumors kind of messed with him a little bit because I know Cincinnati had already like been open to like trying to move him. But yeah, if he can stay healthy and like a change of scenery, I like Jonathan India.
yeah, that's a rookie of the year right there too. Well, yeah, he won. But yeah, I really like him as a player. So I know even when there was like rumblings that the Sox were like looking at a trade market for a second baseman, and I remember hearing Indian name, I was like, ooh, maybe we should go get him. But obviously it didn't work out. And then another position I obviously, which you kind of brought up, was the catchers. I went with Shea Langeliers.
Langoliers, yeah,
Langeliers, I think is how I pronounce
yeah.
his name. From the Athletics. Yeah. So I knew I wanted him like from the draft. Like I knew like he was one of the guys I was eyeing like like he was on my draft board, and I was hoping that he was gonna like obviously fall. And I don't think he was like on a lot of people's draft boards probably. But so that kind of allowed me to focus on like I'm not on like worried about catchers like on all these earlier rounds because I know I could probably snag him. But I do like him. People are saying he's probably a potential like 30 home run player. Again, we're focusing on they're playing at a damn minor league ballpark, which kind of goes into another player that I drafted. But we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, that's where I
Yeah,
went with those
I
picks.
think that was a good pick. Langoliers was on my radar as well. But yeah, obviously I went with Contreras. But yeah, overall, I think good picks there. This is where it starts getting a little bit dicey for me. I think this is maybe where you can make the case for my team as far as of like, can my team stay healthy? Can they stay healthy? Because going on with my 104th pick, you guys know I love being ballsy. I love taking risks, and like if I know the player and I enjoy the player and I think they can have a good bounce back, I'm going to pick that player regardless of the comp and whatever. Did that last year with Mike Trout. Did well for me for 2 weeks, and then he bit me in the ass. So the the 104th pick,
Yeah.
11th round, I went with who I think can be NL Cy Young winner, who can be a comeback player of the year. We got Sandy Alcantara from the Miami Marlins. Granted, he's not going to win me a lot of games because the Marlins are absolute dog shit. But
When we give our season previews, what's your thoughts on the Marlins? Oh, absolute dog shit.
They do have some good prospects. Don't get me wrong. Connor Norby, I like him, but man, that team, man, what they do over there is absolutely fucking wild. Uh, but Sandy Alcantara was my pick there. Realized I was kind of already thin on some pitching, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a little bit ballsy here. But yeah, supposedly they've said that he has no restrictions. He said that himself that he's a full go. He's not gonna have any type of holdback or anything like that. So he's a full go. So I'm excited to see what hopefully that he can do in his comeback here. I think some adjustments, obviously the pitch clock, things like that, may have tinkered with them a little bit. I don't know how much of a factor that is, but I'm a big believer in Sandy Alcantara. We're 2 years ago, 2 years away from or 2 years ago where he was like one of the more dominant pitchers in all of baseball. So yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do, and hopefully he can be a diamond in the rough in that dog shit team in Miami. My 117th pick and my 12th round, I realized I did not have a second baseman, so then I went with Baltimore Orioles second baseman Jordan Westerberg. I was going to go with Jackson Holiday, but I feel like Jordan Westerberg was more the safer pick. Granted, I do think Jackson Holiday has a higher upside. I do like Jackson Holiday, do not get me wrong, but Jordan Westerberg, from a fantasy standpoint, just has a little bit more of an established time frame. Hit over 20 bombs last year, so yeah, especially now with the Gunnar Henderson injury, like, I'm pretty sure those guys can move. I'm pretty sure Holiday can move to short. Jordan Westerberg can play second and or third. So yeah, like Jordan Westerberg a lot. Keeping it with the injury prone, because I just love my injury prone players. I then went with the 124th pick, 13th round, Jacob DeGrom. So you guys just know I just love my injury prone, injury brittled starters. I went with Jacob DeGrom. This one here, I'll try to get your point on it. I don't know if you think like, man, what the fuck was I doing picking him? But from the stories and like the things that I've read,
I did see. I did. I saw you pick them, and I was like, "What is his thought process on this pick?" Which is, it's weird because I mean, you drafted him pretty later in the game. But I saw one mock draft. Somebody had him like drafted like way higher than you had him. I was like, "All right, what the hell's going on?" But from what I've heard, I think
yeah,
he's been healthy all spring, right?
We hinted here before we started, like I like to just like consume as much baseball content as I can during spring, and I'll keep an eye and tabs on every player, or not every player, but like every team, like what's the news and notes and things like that. So the news and notes that I got from DeGrom is that this is just wild to me. Like, all right, baseball must be so easy to this guy. He said that he's willing to take some miles per hour off his fastball to stay healthy. So he said like, oh, I can, like, he normally throws 100. That, oh, I can throw 96, 97. And I can remain healthy. Oh, it must be fucking nice. Like, damn. So, I don't know. Like,
How
I
would
don't know
you
if
even do
I'm
that?
pretty sure it's a
Like,
mechanical
how
thing.
would you? That's wild.
But yeah, he's like admitted that he's like going to like not throw as hard. I mean, it must be nice to be able to control that. So I heard that, and he's, yeah, like you just mentioned there, he's been healthy. I believe he actually just had his second appearance today. Yeah, he allowed 2 runs on 4 hits and 2 walks while striking out 3 over 4 innings and win days Cactus League against the Mariners. That was his second game starting. But they said that he's been built up in minor league games during spring. And that, yeah, he says he feels good health wise. And from what I've read from Rangers reports, that they're always going to have him on a limit there. But I think the Rangers can be a team offensively that can carry him. So obviously this league carries wins. Obviously wins for pitchers still matter in fantasy points. I don't care about wins as a pitcher when evaluating them, but they do care in fantasy. So I think offensively the Rangers can carry him to, like, if they score, 4+ runs in the 5th inning, that's all he gives us. Like, that's a win. So that was my thought process on Jacob DeGrom. I've like, if he can stay healthy, can stay where he's at. There's no denying he is one of, if not the best pitcher in the game. Again, if healthy, there's a big asterisk if healthy. But based off what I've said or what I've read and seen, he looks healthy. I think any limits that he put on him is about 120 to 130. So that's enough for my fantasy. So, and maybe down the line of September and hitting into October, that's what my fantasy team will need. And then for my 137th pick and my 14th round pick, keeping it with the young studded outfielders, I went with Dylan Cruz, who is top Series 1 flagship, highly touted rookie. Yeah, there's not much to say I have on Dylan Cruz. I think he could easily be a Rookie of the Year favorite, easy 2020 guy. So yeah, I like Dylan Cruz a lot. Obviously, I'm a little bit worried about the strikeouts. He did strike out a little bit at a pretty high clip, which he didn't do in college. So I'm a little bit worried about that. But yeah, I think Dylan Cruz, I think that was a solid pick to kind of round up my outfield and my offense there. But yeah, those were my 4 picks. Again, Westerberg, DeGrom, Cruz, and Alcantara. So I think overall that was, again, a lot of question marks. A lot of question marks, but I
Yeah,
think it's good.
I like the I like the Cruz pick. I was hoping he was gonna fall later, like later, and like to this part where like you have like your bench, like your bench players. But obviously, I think obviously that's probably listeners of pods tend to come to realize that we think a lot the same. Um, so yeah, let's round out this last what I think it's the last 5 picks, which would be 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19. 15th round, which is the 143rd pick of the draft, went with Tanner Houck. I'm a Boston fan, obviously, as you come to know. Had to go with Tanner Houck. I think obviously with last season, it was his first full season of a starter workload. I think he could probably build on that and be a solid 2-3 guy in the rotation. 16th pick, I went JJ Bleday from the Athletics, which obviously I've already highlighted. I like the whole minor league, the potential of, they're playing after their games at a minor league stadium. So the offensive potential numbers there, I think there's a big upside. These next 2 picks, I went with hopefully that could be sleeper picks that hopefully, obviously, if they're healthy or if one person stays healthy and another person kind of proves his hype, um, can be big. I think fantasy builders for me. So obviously, 17th round, I went Jackson Holiday. 18th pick, I went Josh Jung from the Texas Rangers. And then with the last pick, which is the 183rd pick for me, I went with Walker Buehler. Again, Boston. So have to get a couple of the. It's easier for me to keep tabs on Boston Red Sox players. Obviously, as I can watch them. So, but I think there's a lot of potential upside with Walker Buehler for the Sox and for this team. But
Yeah,
yeah, that rounds
I
out
like
my
the
team.
Walker Buehler pick, and then like I mentioned there, I think that Jackson Holiday. I was hoping to have him be like my bench bat or one of my bench bats. I think again has a lot of upside. Obviously, I think his hard hit exit velo was pretty good too. So like he was hitting the ball hard when he did hit. It just unfortunately was a little bit unlucky there. So
I think he had a good spring or he's been having a good spring, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see if I have here. I don't know where did I see it at. I don't know where it's at. I think I saw he was hitting like
yeah,
300 in spring. So
I think he'll make the
I
adjustment.
don't know. I could be wrong on
He'll
that,
be fine.
but yeah,
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Jackson Holiday, as you guys have heard on this pod today. I'm heading off to my final 5th picks. I went with the guy that you had last year, if I'm not mistaken. Again, a lot of question marks as I'm reading this here. I'm like, damn, my team does have a lot of question marks if healthy. So I then went with, maybe I don't.
half your
My
team's
is
gonna
like
be
the
on the
little,
IO.
SpongeBob me with a casket. Put those guys on plastic bags and have them be protected. So my 144th pick, 15th round, I went with Brian Wu from the Seattle Mariners. I love my Mariner pitchers.
I did have him
Again,
last
if
year. He was
healthy,
pretty good. Yeah, and he was like that. He was like a
yeah, again,
midseason
if
pickup too.
healthy is
Yeah,
one of the uh, exciting pitchers of the game. His swing and miss stuff is absolute filthy. He struck out 6 and 2.1 innings today. Granted, it was against the Angels, but or not. That was 13 days ago. Sorry about that, but you got to get the idea. A lot of swing and miss, so he can definitely rack up those strikeouts there for me. So like that a lot. Again, if healthy, love it. This one here, I think a little bit of a sleeper. I was kind of surprised he was down this bad, but I think he can have a bounce back year. I believe this is walk year, or he's 2 years away from his walk year. He is having a pretty good spring right now. That is Bo Bichette from the Toronto Blue Jays. I know he kind of gets a lot of slack right now. Obviously has had he struggled last year, but I think he can put up a good year. Obviously the Blue Jays are kind of in that weird little position that they're in right now, but I think him and obviously with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. can hopefully put up some good numbers there in a team that's kind of in a weird, awkward position.
I think this is the walk year for him. I know he was 1 year ahead of Vladdy.
Isn't Vladdy afraid
Or is him and Vladdy the same year? Oh shit! So then, okay, so I think this is his walk year then. Because I remember 2 of them being the same year. I remember.
Yeah, something like that. So like, is this walk year? He has 2 more years of control, something like that. But regardless, somebody fact check that for me in the comments, or the listener. Somebody fact check it for me and tweet me what his walk year is. But yeah, regardless, I'm a fan of Bo Bichette. I like him a lot. I think he can have a bounce back year for the Toronto Blue Jays. My 164th pick, 17th round. This is where it once again gets dicey, and I decided just to be an idiot. Not an idiot, but I think again more question marks. Curious to get your thoughts on this. I'm pretty sure you already know where I'm going with this, but I then drafted Kristen Campbell from the Boston Red Sox. Um, he is the favorite to be the starting second baseman. Do I think that's right? I don't think so. There's another player I wish right now who has started at second base, that being Marcelo Meyer. We were kind of talking about this when I saw you earlier. Like, I personally, out of the big three, I think Kristen Campbell is like the most like talented. Roman Anthony has the most hype. And then I think personally from like a fan favorite, like I just love Marcelo Meyer a lot. I think from a personal side, like the dude is just like I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if it's the aura of Marcelo Meyer. Like he just seems like so personable. Um, and yeah, I like him a lot. But again, there's some question marks if he's going to open up camp with the Red Sox this year. And he did get some playing time at second base, but based on the last reports that we read from Quintillo and Sean McAdam, that Christian Campbell, despite having a little bit of a rough spring, he is the favorite to play second base and to win the job. So there's no denying what he's done down in AAA and AA last year, and obviously all the hype that he's had. So yeah, Christian Campbell was my 164th, 17th round pick. If he's not on the opening day roster, I'll quickly drop him and add somebody else. 177th pick and 18th round. I went with a familiar face because I realized, hey, my starters are all injury prone. I need a starter that can at least chew up some innings if one of them gets bit by the bullet. That's Nicky Pivetta from the now San Diego Padres. I think leaving Fenway is going to help him because obviously that is not a pitcher-friendly ballpark, and obviously going to Petco, that is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, and obviously the stuff, the advanced metrics say like he's like the best pitcher in the world. So Nicky P, that was my 177th and 18th round pick. And then to round out my offense here, again, I'm a believer in the bat. He did make his debut in the Tokyo series. I then have Matt Shaw from the Chicago Cubbies as my 19th round, 184th pick. So again, yeah, you can kind of see that towards the end got a little bit delirious with the Kristen Campbell and some guys who can have potential bounce backs. But I always like to do that. I always like to draft at least like one prospect and just kind of keep them stored down there, just in case if they do make the bounce back. Or
Yeah, you want to say this? I think this is also why we like to do our draft like this later or this close to the season, because obviously if you do it way early, obviously people get hurt, and then you can kind of see like where the kind of the rosters constructions are coming from, so it allows you to kind of take that gamble like toward with one of your last few picks. Say, hey, you take a gamble on this prospect who might break camp, and then when if he does break camp, you're not there like trying to scramble through like the free agency wire and potentially miss out. Because I think that's if I'm not mistaken, last year, that's how you picked up. I know you mentioned it briefly, but that's how you picked up Paul Skenes. You picked him up like maybe like a couple of weeks prior to his debut, and you just
yeah, I was
left
listening
him
to
on your
another
bench.
podcast. I was listening to Baseball is Dead, hosted by Jared Carrabas, Dallas Braden, and Jay Hay. And Dallas Braden had mentioned that he had heard some rumblings that the Pirates were going to call him up, but it was going to be a little bit. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to risk it. So I had him stored down on my minor on my bench there, had him picked up, and just had him stored down there until he got called up. And yeah, obviously that did wonders for me. And he basically carried me to the postseason. He did all that he could. So shout out to Paulie Skenes, love that man. So shout out to him for carrying, because I think I struggled out of the gate. I think I was like 500. I was like really like dead even to start off the year, and then I finally caught fire towards the end, and obviously, like we talked about, made it to the postseason and eventually made the championship, but got my ass kicked in the last round. But yeah, so that is my team. Obviously, a lot of young guys, a lot of prospects, a lot of injury riddled starting rotation.
A lot
So
of
hopefully
broken
those guys
bones.
can stay healthy and stay protected. Maybe if time allows, I'll make a cool little graphic with all of our players on there. And sound off in the comments down below. Who do you think has the better team? Is it me? Is it BroPo? Who has the better team? Sound off in the comments down below, or tweet us at Moon3PO, or tweet us at Dad Who Collects. And again, if you're listening on Apple, Spotify, make sure you leave a rating and tweet us there and follow us on all those socials there. Who has the better fantasy baseball team? And obviously during the middle of the year or as the year falls along, we will obviously keep tabs on our team and talk about how we're doing. Maybe we'll have like a little fantasy segment, who to keep, who we're picking up, things like that, which will lead into what I have towards the end.
Ooh,
When do we play
yeah.
each other? Let me see. Oh, I play you April. I play you. You're the fourth.
Oh yeah, let's
You're the
check that
fourth
out.
game. Rowdy Sox. I got you April 14th through April 20th. Maybe that week that'll be a fun little pod. That week will be a fun little pod. So yeah, I play you. Oh, and you're my stepping stone to the postseason. You're my last game too.
Someone be the one to put you out of your misery. You
Carrying
old
Jacob
yeller.
DeGrom's carcass to the finish line.
It was funny too because now that I think about it, last year, like I think my first round pick last year, I think it was Acuna. Obviously we know how that went. He was out after the May, but I was like, dude, I'm gonna put him on my IL and I'm gonna keep him. I was like, I'm gonna keep him as long as I can because he was obviously ruled out for the season a long time. But I kept him on my IL like just so I was like, dude, I'm gonna take you with me to the chip. Fortunately, I had to drop him like at one point because other people obviously started getting hurt. I had to swap him out. But yeah, it's gonna be you. Oh, I think the
It
bins
ended?
ended already. Yeah, yeah.
Oof.
1.1. 1.110
Damn, so
mil
just a little bit below Joe
sold.
Doyle.
Yeah.
Damn,
Ooh.
that's wild.
Damn. So he's Paul Skenes is the second. I'm assuming the second highest pitcher baseball card that's sold because Joe Doyle was technically the first.
Yeah, and then if you, I'm not too sure what year that Babe Ruth is.
What a
I don't know
guy.
if they consider that a hitter or a pitcher.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And then Jackson Holiday ended at
Oh, damn, okay.
198,000.
Okay.
Dude, the Juan Soto went higher. Went for 204,000.
Damn, that's really damn. That's yeah, that makes sense. I guess. Actually, I don't know. A debut patch, like a 101.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, Juan Soto is the more established player. But I
It's
think from
interesting.
like collectability, like I think you want the 101 than out of 5 refractor. But that's just a quick thought on my head. Right. That's a thought on my head. Really
Yeah,
quickly
that's true.
on that. But there you go. Well, oh yeah, it's got the breaking. Yep. Breaking, the Paul Skenes 101 rookie debut patch autograph has sold at auction for $1,110,000 of all active MLB players. Only Mike Trout has ever had a card sell for more. Yeah, I'm the first repost. Tops, give me a free hobby box. Give me another debut patch before. But yeah, damn, that's just absolute.
Give us some juice packs over here.
Juice boxes, some free boxes. My Tops Now cards. Give me some parallels. Give me something here. Give me something to live with a little bit. Damn, what is that kid and parents gonna do with 1.1 million? I wonder what they get after fees.
I don't know. I don't know what Fanatics' like co-assignment is. Like,
How do you report that on your taxes?
I don't know what it would be. Shit, you probably got to get like a. I don't know. It's kind of like when you win the lottery. If you think about it. Well, I don't know. I don't think you have to. I don't know. I'm not a tax expert. I'm not gonna fucking comment on this.
Somebody book a tax expert.
I don't know. Yeah, let's get a tax expert on the pod. We're just gonna give him a quick question. We're like, all right, buddy.
How do
with the
I
hot
report
wins.
my business expenses?
You just sold a
and
$1.1
how do you
million
report
card.
assets as cards as assets?
But see, that's I don't know how like because would it be? I don't know. That wouldn't be considered a business expense for them because they're just selling a card. Like you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure it's like the.
I don't know.
Nah, I don't know. Again, I don't know.
I'll go find a tax expert.
If you're a tax expert, let us know.
I'll go
in the
find
comments.
next.
How do I
report it on my taxes?
How do I do this? Let's just do some quick math. How do I do? All right, let's see. I was not a math was not my strong suit in school. But let's see. Okay, I think that's 1.1 mil. Let's just say it was 1.1 mil. Let's just say Fanatics takes 20%. That's 220,000.
So they're left with what? A little bit less than a mil. Yeah,
but I don't know if they take 20%. I'm just guesstimating. I'm just estimating. You know what I mean? Because eBay takes 13, so I don't know what Fanatics would take. Maybe they take like 5%. FeeBay, yeah.
Yeah,
it's still a lot of money. Whatever that kid got or that family got.
Shout out to them. Congrats to that family. Obviously, that is life-changing money for anybody. So yeah, congrats to them. Congrats to that family. Hope you are doing well with that cash and spend it wisely. Maybe that kid goes to college, which I think at this point you don't have to do that anymore. Just reinvest it into stocks and crypto. You'll be all right. Not financial advice again.
I don't know why you said that. I just thought about that scene from The Office where they're talking about like
Oh
where
yeah.
they're raising that money for Meredith, remember? And they're like, "Oh, maybe we can give the money to his kids. We can go to college." He's like, "You seen that kid? He's not going to college."
uh, but yeah, 1.1 mil, obviously a lot of money for a piece of cardboard with a little piece of jersey in there. So just absolute wild. Going to be curious to see what these next cards doing this upcoming year. We obviously have the Dylan Cruz, James Wood, Roki Sasaki. They put out that tweet yesterday, or I think Wednesday they put out that tweet. Football and basketball now are getting the debut patches. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, time will tell what the future holds for these patches. But yeah, a little bit craziness. I'm lost for words for that. But yeah, as we approach the end of this episode here, I want to open up the floor to you, BroPo. If you got any final thoughts for the good old listeners of Cardboard Dugout.
No, I don't got much. Like I said, I'm excited to get this season started, and I'm excited to get a full year of this pod um, down. So it's gonna be pretty fun. Obviously, like I said, we're gonna try to do like little fantasy segments, how our teams are doing, give a little updates of that. Um, I now that you've mentioned like the whole debut patches with the NFL and the NBA, I don't know how they're gonna do that. Like that'd be pretty interesting to see. But I did see like people are now like obviously on the other side, like the kabooms and the downtowns are like really big. Um, and Clever Cuban Cards. If you don't follow him, give him a follow on YouTube, TikTok. Dude's a genius when it comes to on the baseball side of card. He has his own baseball card business. All he does, it's pretty cool. So if you follow strictly just baseball, I highly recommend you go check out his content. But I was in one of his streams and he mentioned like he sees that like eventually like if once they get the license, Tops gets license for like NFL and stuff like that, and like they start doing like the home field advantages because I've been talking about those home field advantage cards. I really like them, and they're kind of like the downtowns in a sense, but the market obviously is not the same. Um, but he says obviously like once they get the NFL license and they get like they start doing like their versions of home field advantages for NFL, NBA, and all that stuff. Like obviously MLBs are going to have their side, so those might tick up. So yeah, give. I'm not saying to go buy those home field cards. I'm not telling you to do that. Um, but some of them are pretty cool looking. Like I do have a Rafael Devers one. I'm trying to get the Casas one and the Sedan Rafaela. Like they're just pretty cool. Obviously, if you follow me on Instagram, I got the Josh Jung, which I wanted it because he's from our city. He's from our area, so it highlights the Alamo and all that cool stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for the season to start and let's get this going.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited. One home field advantage. I have been a big fan of the home field advantage. I've been eyeing some of them here. The one I really want for my personal collection is the Francisco Lindor with the OMG. For those that don't know, I played OMG at my wedding during my garter toss. So
Yeah.
that song. Oh
Oh
my God.
my
Something, something, something,
god.
something, something, something. Yeah, absolutely love that song. The fact that song is on MLB The Show 25 as the official soundtrack is a damn shame.
I was about to say they should have put that in the
The
show.
fact that's
God
not on MLB The
damn,
Show
man.
25, which we've been playing a lot of the last couple of days or so. Yeah, that's the one I keep an eye out for. Obviously, the Devers, the Cassis one, and there's some really cool ones in this upcoming Topps Chrome top series, and obviously they do it for Topps Chrome. So, yeah, reiterate what you just said. Yeah, I definitely like that. The home field advantages. I think they're pretty cool cards, and they're case hits, so they should be worth a little bit more. Again, not financial advice. Again, not telling you to go out and buy those cards, but yeah, those are some of my favorite cards here to buy. In all Topps Series 1. Which yeah, this may be a little bit of a long final thought, so bear with me here as we head into the final stretch here. But yeah, like BroPo just mentioned, obviously if you guys are listening to the pod, this is potentially the last episode before the season starts. Maybe we get one out Monday, depending on our schedules and things like that. Obviously you're going to be very busy. I'm going to be doing some stuff here on my side as well. We just got some events coming up here on our end. So maybe next week we potentially get one out. This episode for sure will be out on Monday, presumably. And then maybe that day we record and then get another one out on Wednesday before opening day, or maybe release on opening day. So TBD, keep an eye on the socials. Make sure you guys are following so you guys keep an eye out for all that. But yeah, just kind of want to talk about the content here moving forward, because I have seen some comments and then got from the interaction that I got from my YouTube and my TikTok and stuff like that. Obviously, if you guys have been following the socials, we've been doing a lot of wrestling stuff right now. the baseball stuff is not going anywhere. Like the baseball stuff is here. It's not going anywhere. When I started the pod, it started off with baseball. Wrestling just started taking off, and I saw it as an opportunity and created that content. And if you guys know anything about wrestling, it's like a wrestler who's getting a major push. If a guy gets over, you start pushing him a little bit. So I started pushing the wrestling content. You guys obviously enjoyed that stuff. So I want to make it very clear, and I put out that tweet as well, that the baseball content is not going anywhere. It's here to stay. We're going to be doing the podcast. The idea that I have once the season is officially out is to do an episode a week, maybe 2 episodes a week, depending on what's going on. And like, if you go back and listen to the very first episode, the idea that I had when I created the podcast was like, we'll break down, superstars or baseball players that are having, a good week, a good month, and translate to that cards and like, what are their card market doing? What is that card doing? What's this card doing? Is their card market down? Is the card market going up? Who's a sleeper? You guys know, and obviously you can tell by my fantasy draft, like I love baseball prospects. I love prospects. What's a prospect that's coming out? And then like even now too, like obviously as the year comes into play, like the reason why we kind of, I don't want to say stop doing it, but the lack of cardboard dugout episodes was like there wasn't really many card sets that are out. Obviously we just have Top Series 1, and there's only so much you can do with Top Series 1. We got 2024 Bowman that's going to be coming out. We got Topps Chrome Black that's going to be dropping. I think Chrome Platinum is dropping, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was officially announced. Heritage is coming out. So I mean, the baseball sets are going to be coming back, and obviously that's a lot of stuff that we can talk about and we can rip or open together and talk about it on the pod. So yeah, again, want to reiterate, the baseball content is not going anywhere. That is our true love. Baseball's, we live and breathe this stuff, obviously. So it's not going to go anywhere. We're 162 guys for the Red Sox. We're 162 guys for other teams. So again, want to reiterate, it's not going anywhere. So if you're a fan of baseball, you love baseball cards, just love just sitting down, listening, talking cards, this is hopefully going to be the pod and the channel for you. So just wanted to reiterate that. So again, hopefully this episode is out on Monday. Hopefully you guys listen to it on Monday, and then if everything goes our way, have another episode out on Wednesday. So we'll have an episode out before opening day. Maybe we'll do like a fun little prediction, stuff like that, and do whatever we got to do on that episode. But yeah, that's the idea that I have moving forward. So again, make sure you are following us on all socials. You can follow me at Moon3PO. And if you're listening on YouTube or Spotify, links will be all down description down below. Along with Dad Who Collects, we got him officially added to the description. So if you want to follow Dad Who Collects, he will be down in the description down below. So go for free to follow him on there. He's been doing a lot of content on TikTok, his Instagram. So yeah, go give him a follow there. Yeah, guys, baseball is officially here. It is officially back. We're very, very excited. I'm excited to see what a full season of this podcast and what a full season of content will do for us. So thank you guys for all the support. I really thank you guys for listening, watching, and supporting us last year leading into the offseason. And yeah, looking forward to the content that we put out and to the continued support that we have coming into this season. But that's all I have. Again, thank you guys for listening, watching, and we will see y'all in the next one.